Welcome back, friends. So have you ever wondered to yourself or asked yourself, how can I manage cordage a little easier? Well, I have a little DIY solution for you right here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take you into the garage to my workstation, and I want to show you the materials I use to make this, and then we'll make one. So this one was made off camera just to see what kind of a design I liked, because there's several designs out there and I just made my own. So let's get into the garage and start making one. So as you can see, here's the spool or card. I'm not even sure where this came from, but what I suspect is this was the bottom of a canvas bag that you use for shopping or whatever, and this may have been the bottom lining to give it strength. So anyway, you need one of those, and I would say it's probably a 1/16 of an inch thick, and this one's probably about, it was total about 10 inches long before I cut that section off. And you can see I did a line here and a line there because I'm hoping to get 4 out of this total. So you're going to need 2 different types of knives. I use this for the fine cutting and rounding off the holes. I use this larger one for cutting it out to make it easier, and I use this thin piece of sheet metal just as a straight edge. We're going to cut on the board. We're going to use our pencil to trace it out, and we're going to use a 3/16 drill bit to drill out the 2 holes. So let me get this repositioned. I'll get sat down and we'll get to work. So to start, we're going to take the one that we already cut out and use it as our template piece. And excuse me if I fumble just a little bit. This is hard to film and do this at the same time. So we'll line it up the best we can, and then we're going to trace out our piece, including our holes and our lines. Without moving it too much, hopefully. So hopefully you can see that. I mean, the lines are there, they're faint, but that's all we're going to do. We've got our 2 holes, our lines, and our outline. So we're going to get this cut, and I'll probably speed up the process as I'm cutting, just not to bore you. But before we do that, I'm just going to cut these off so that it makes it a lot easier to manage each one at a time. So we'll just follow the lines that I drew before, keep our thumb out of the way. All we're looking to do initially is to score it. You want to score a line. We'll turn it over and come up from the other end, and each time applying a little bit more pressure, because eventually, as you can see, that white line, that means I've cut through it for the most part. So all we're going to do is dig in deep, and there we go. Okay, now we're going to start cutting these out, and the reason why I did such sharp angles on these is because it makes it a little easier. We're going to go with our smaller one this time. Like I said, score it a couple of times, and then we'll cut deeper later. And then we'll just connect those two cuts that we just made. Low and slow. As you can see, cut line, cut line, cut line. Now we'll just go deeper. Make sure we're keeping our fingers out of the way. And then we'll cut our connecting. And there you go. There's one side. Now we'll knock out the other side. And we'll cut out the other two. As you can see, I spooled one of these with some number 6 bank line, and I will show you how this is 20 feet of bank line, fits in the palm of my hand, can easily grasp it, and it can pretty much go into anything as far as your front pocket, back pocket, cargo pocket if you're wearing cargo pants or shorts, Polish bread bag, haversack, any bags that you're carrying, you can carry any of these. So this one is number 36 bank line. Here we're going to have some 550 reflective paracord, and I'll show you how to spool at least one of these or get one started. And then on this one we might do some jute twine, because you can never have enough jute twine. And then here's some orange 550 paracord that we're going to use for this last one. So we'll have bank line, 550 cord that's reflective, jute twine for fire starting, for extra cordage, whatever you could use jute twine for. And then we're going to have our orange paracord on this one. So let's go ahead and we'll start with, we'll do jute twine. So you want to make sure you get her unraveled here. This one's all twisted up here. There we go. So I'm going to stretch it off camera, but I'll show you what I mean by that. So what I mean is, you grab your jute twine, you stretch it out your arm's length, and in my case it's about 5 feet, so I just grab it 4 times without all this other stuff. So it's 10, 15, 20, and there I've got my 20 feet of jute twine now, and I will show you how to spool one of these. So let me get you back over here. Not that there's any particular way to do this, but what I do is I take an end, I feed it through the hole, and I just do a simple overhand knot, sometimes 2, depending on how big your line is compared to that hole, and it just rests there. And then I take it and I go through that line, and that's when I start feeding it, trying to keep my line as tight as I can without going blood tight, because this is a plastic card that can just fold very easily. And we just keep doing this until we get it all wound, and I'm going to show you how to finish it off at the end. So I'm going to go ahead and get this wound, and then I'll bring you back when I get to the end. So here we're getting to the end, so they don't have to be quite as tight. Actually, you can kind of go wider, and what I like to do to finish it off, sorry, had to get out of camera, is I like to feed what you would call your working end through that hole, and then back through that crack we put there. And you can either go back underneath your line to secure it, because you definitely don't want to put a knot on that end, because that's going to be where you start it from. But that will be bank line now, and some jute twine. And as you see on the bank line, I did the same thing. I just crossed over and then fed it back through. So there's 2 down. We got the 2 paracords to do, and then I'll bring you back at the end so you can see the final result of all 4. Well, as you can see, bank line, jute twine, the orange paracord, which still, even though it's paracord, still disappears in the hand, so it's not too bad to carry in a bag. And also the reflective paracord, same way. You can hide it in the hand. Very compact. Can fit into really any bag that you're carrying, your pockets, like I said. And that's it. Just a quick little DIY on what they call spool cards, or you could call it a cord management card, or just cord management, just whatever you want to call it. But that's just my little take on it. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and hopefully the next time that we see each other, I will be outside doing something bushcraft related, or hiking, survival, camping, something other than being in my garage in front of a tarp doing DIY stuff. So until the next time I see you, get out there.